I opened my eyes to the sound of champagne glasses clinking upstairs. The basement ceiling shook with footsteps and laughter. I checked my watch, 7:47 p.m. The housewarming party was in full swing, and nobody had called me up. I stood from the narrow cot I'd been sleeping on for the past 6 months, straightened my flannel shirt, and ran a hand through what was left of my gray hair. My reflection in the small basement mirror showed a man who looked older than his 65 years. The fluorescent light made the bags under my eyes look darker, deeper. The house above me, the $680,000 house I'd bought for my son Jason and his wife Amanda, buzzed with life I wasn't part of. I could hear Amanda's high-pitched laugh cutting through the murmur of conversation. Someone turned up the music. I climbed the wooden stairs slowly, my knees protesting each step. The arthritis had gotten worse since I'd moved into the basement. The concrete floor and the damp air weren't doing me any favors. But Jason had been insistent. "Dad, we need the guest rooms for Amanda's home office and the nursery. The basement's finished. You'll be comfortable." That was 6 months ago, right after I'd transferred the down payment. All $200,000 of it. My entire retirement savings from 40 years as a mechanical engineer at Boeing. I reached the top of the stairs and pushed open the door. The noise hit me like a wall. At least 40 people filled the open-concept living room and kitchen, everyone dressed in cocktail attire, holding wine glasses, laughing at jokes I couldn't hear. The house looked beautiful. The furniture I'd helped assemble last month, the curtains Amanda had spent 3 weekends choosing, the artwork Jason had hung just yesterday, all of it came together perfectly. Nobody noticed me standing in the doorway. I spotted Jason across the room, his arm around a man in an expensive suit. My son looked good, tall, confident, his hair styled perfectly, wearing the Hugo Boss jacket I'd bought him for his birthday. At 38, he'd finally made something of himself in real estate. Or so I thought. "Dad!" Jason's voice cut through the noise when he finally saw me. But it wasn't warm. It was the voice you'd use when you spotted something out of place. "There you are." He walked over, but not to hug me. He put his hand on my shoulder and steered me toward the kitchen. "Listen, can you help Amanda with the catering? The serving trays need to go out, and she's overwhelmed." "I thought I was a guest tonight," I said quietly. Jason laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You live here, Dad. This is your house, too. Just pitch in, okay?" He walked away before I could respond. I found Amanda in the kitchen, directing 2 catering staff. When she saw me, her face lit up, not with affection, but with relief. "Richard, perfect timing. Can you take this tray of shrimp cocktail to the living room, and then come back for the cheese board? Amanda, I'd like to actually join the party." Of course, she said, already turning back to the caterers. "Just help us get everything set up first. You know how important tonight is for Jason's career. Half these people are potential clients." I took the tray. My hands shook slightly as I carried it through the crowd. Nobody thanked me. Nobody even made eye contact. I was invisible, just the old man carrying food. For the next hour, I became the unofficial server, refilling drinks, collecting empty plates, wiping down the counters. Jason and Amanda were too busy networking to notice I was working while they were entertaining. When I tried to join a conversation near the fireplace, Jason swooped in. "Dad, can you check if we need more ice?" Every time I stopped working, I got another task. More ice, more napkins. Take the trash out. The 2 hired servers looked at me with something like pity. Around 9 o'clock, Jason clinked his glass to make a toast. Everyone gathered in the living room. I stood at the back, near the kitchen, still holding a garbage bag. "Amanda and I want to thank you all for coming tonight," Jason began. The room fell silent. "This house is a dream come true for us. We couldn't have done it without the support of so many people." He started thanking people by name. His boss, Amanda's parents, who apparently helped with the furniture, his real estate mentor, his college friends who'd given him advice. The list went on. 10 people, 15 people. He never mentioned me. Not once. Amanda took the microphone next. "I especially want to thank my parents for the beautiful dining set, and Jason's colleague Mark for recommending our contractor. This house is perfect because of all of you." The crowd applauded. People cheered. Jason and Amanda kissed. I stood there, invisible, holding a bag of garbage in the house I'd bought. Then someone asked the question. A woman in a red dress I didn't recognize. Jason, didn't your father help with the house? I thought I heard he. Oh, Richard? Jason laughed. He looked directly at me for the first time all evening. The room turned to follow his gaze. 40 pairs of eyes landed on me, standing there in my old flannel shirt, holding trash, looking every bit the part I'd been playing all night. Richard's our live-in handyman, Jason said. The room tittered with polite laughter. He fixes things around the house, does odd jobs. It's nice having him in the basement, always on call. The room erupted in louder laughter. Someone said, "That's convenient." Amanda giggled behind her hand. I felt my face burn. My chest tightened. The garbage bag slipped from my fingers. "Actually," I said, my voice barely audible over the noise. Then louder. "Actually, I'm his father." The laughter died down a bit. Jason's smile didn't falter. "Of course you are, Dad," he said, his tone dripping with condescension. "And we appreciate you being here to help out." He turned back to the crowd. "He's a big help around the house. We joke that he's better than hiring a property manager." More laughter. Someone raised their glass. "To the live-in handyman." "To Richard," others echoed. They were toasting me like I was the help in the house I'd bought. Amanda leaned into Jason and said, loud enough for the nearby guests to hear, "At least he's earning his keep. Better than just freeloading." The word hit me like a punch. Freeloader. I was freeloading. In the house I'd paid for. The house where I lived in the basement while they had 4 bedrooms upstairs. The house I'd given them the down payment for, emptying my retirement account in the process. I looked at Jason. Really looked at him. Tried to find the boy I'd raised after his mother died. The 12-year-old who'd cried in my arms at the funeral. The teenager I'd worked double shifts to send to college. The young man whose business I'd helped fund with another $50,000 when he was starting out. I couldn't find him. The man standing there, laughing with his wife, while their guests clinked glasses in my direction, was a stranger. "Excuse me," I said. Nobody heard me. "Excuse me," I repeated, louder this time. The room quieted slightly. Jason looked annoyed. "I need some air," I said, and walked toward the basement door. As I descended the stairs, I heard the party resume above. The music got louder. The laughter continued. Nobody followed me down. I sat on my cot in the dim basement light and stared at the concrete wall. My hands were still shaking, but now it wasn't from the arthritis. It was from rage. Pure, white-hot rage that I hadn't felt since I don't think I'd ever felt anger like this before. I'd always been the understanding father, the patient one, the one who gave Jason everything he asked for because his mother wasn't here to do it. I'd never said no, not when he wanted the expensive college, not when he needed seed money for his business, not when he asked me to move out of my paid-off condo so I could help them with their new house. I'd said yes to everything, and this is what it got me. I pulled out my phone. My fingers found the banking app I hadn't checked in months. I'd been too afraid to look, too afraid to see the truth I'd been avoiding. The mortgage on this house was in my name. Jason had terrible credit from some bad business deals in his 20s. I was the one who'd qualified for the loan. I'd made the down payment and agreed to be the primary borrower. Jason and Amanda were supposed to make the monthly payments, $3,200 a month. I opened the mortgage account. My stomach dropped. 3 months behind. 3 months of payments missed. Over $9,000 in arrears. Late fees piling up. A warning letter from the bank about foreclosure proceedings. With shaking hands, I checked my credit card accounts, the ones I'd added Jason to as an authorized user for emergencies. Chase, $8,400. Balance. All charges from the last 2 months. Restaurants, clothing stores, a wine club membership. American Express, $12,200. More restaurants. 2 round-trip tickets to Hawaii last month. A week at a resort. Discover, $6,800. Furniture stores. Electronics. A new TV I'd never seen. Over $27,000 in credit card debt, plus the missed mortgage payments. All while they'd paid for tonight's catering, probably another few $1,000s. All while I'd been eating PB&J sandwiches in the basement because I didn't want to impose on their groceries upstairs. I opened my main checking account, the account where my pension and Social Security got deposited, the account I'd given Jason access to in case of emergencies after I'd moved in. $347, down from the $4,200 that should have been there. I checked the transaction history, weekly withdrawals, $500 here, $800 there, ATM withdrawals I'd never made, all in the last 6 months, all adding up to nearly $20,000. My son and his wife had drained my accounts, maxed out my credit cards, and were defaulting on a mortgage in my name. A mortgage that would destroy my credit and leave me homeless when the bank foreclosed. And tonight, they'd called me a freeloader. I sat there in the darkness, listening to the party above me, and something inside me shifted. Broke, maybe. Or maybe it finally healed into something harder, something that didn't bend anymore. I'd read once that people can only push you as far as you let them. I'd let Jason push me into the basement, into servitude, into poverty. I'd let him because I loved him, because I felt guilty about his mother, because I wanted to be the good father who sacrificed everything. But there's a difference between sacrifice and self-destruction, and I'd crossed that line months ago. I opened my laptop. The ancient Dell I'd used at Boeing for years still worked fine. I started researching. Foreclosure timelines in Washington state, rights of property owners, how to remove authorized users from credit cards, how to change bank account access, elder financial abuse laws, real estate attorneys. The party went until midnight. I heard every minute of it through the ceiling. I didn't go back upstairs. Nobody came to check on me. At 12:47 a.m., the house finally went quiet. I heard Jason and Amanda's bedroom door close. I waited another hour to be sure they were asleep. Then I started making calls. First, to my bank. The automated system let me remove authorized users immediately. Jason and Amanda would find their access revoked by morning. I changed all my passwords, set up two-factor authentication, created a new checking account, and transferred the remaining $347 into it. At 2 a.m., I called the credit card companies, all three of them. I reported the cards as compromised, explained that unauthorized charges had been made. The Chase representative was particularly sympathetic when I explained the situation. They started fraud investigations immediately. By 3 a.m., I'd emailed 5 real estate attorneys, requesting consultations. I'd written down every detail I could remember: dates, amounts, conversations, evidence. By 4 a.m., I'd contacted a property management company and inquired about renting out the house. They sent me a rental estimate, $3,800 a month. By 5 a.m., I'd researched apartments in Seattle, found a nice one-bedroom for seniors, $1,400 a month, available immediately. I submitted an application. I finally lay down on the cot at 5:30 a.m. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the ceiling, listening to the house settle. My house. At 8 a.m., Jason came downstairs. I was already up, sitting at the small desk in the corner, my laptop open. "Morning, Dad," he said, not really looking at me. He was in his bathrobe, holding his phone. "Hey, can you run to the store? We need stuff for breakfast. Amanda wants to make pancakes." "No," I said. Jason stopped, looked at me. "What? No, I'm not going to the store." He laughed. "Come on, Dad. Don't be like that. I know last night was some of the jokes went too far, but you know how it is at these networking events. People expect certain things, like being humiliated in front of 40 strangers. Jesus, you're being dramatic." He sat down on the stairs. "Nobody was humiliating you. We were joking around. You called me a handyman. You told people I was freeloading." "I didn't," he paused. "Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said freeloader. But Dad, you have to admit, you're living here rent-free. It's reasonable to expect you to help out around the house." "Rent-free," I repeated. The rage from last night came back, cold and sharp. "Jason, Do you know whose name is on the mortgage for this house? We're both on it, he said quickly. Too quickly. We applied together. Actually, you applied. Your credit was rejected. The only reason this house got approved was because I applied as the sole borrower. His face changed, got harder. Yeah, and we pay the mortgage. So what? Check your bank account, I said. Tell me when the last mortgage payment was made. He pulled out his phone, swiped through it. I watched his face go from annoyed to confused to pale. There must be a mistake, he said. Amanda handles the finances. There's no mistake. You're 3 months behind. Almost $10,000. The bank is starting foreclosure proceedings. We'll catch up. Business has been slow, but... And the credit cards, I continued. Over $27,000 charged to my accounts in the last 6 months, plus another $20,000 withdrawn from my checking account. Jason stood up. Now wait a minute. You gave us access to those accounts. You said we could use them for emergencies. Hawaii wasn't an emergency. The wine club wasn't an emergency. Last night's catering wasn't an emergency. You're nickel and diming us now? After everything we've done for you? His voice rose. We let you live here. We gave you a place to stay when you had nowhere else to go. I had somewhere to go. I had a paid-off condo in Bellevue. You convinced me to sell it and move here to help with the house. You wanted to sell it. You said you wanted to be closer to us. I wanted to be close to my son. I didn't want to be a servant in a basement. Oh my God. Jason ran his hand through his hair. One night of jokes and you're throwing a tantrum like a child. This isn't about last night. This is about 6 months of being used. This is about $50,000 you stole from me. Stole? Jesus Christ, Dad. We didn't steal anything. You gave us that money. You wanted to help us. Help you, yes. Not fund your lifestyle while I eat peanut butter sandwiches in the basement. You know what? Jason's face flushed red. You're ungrateful. We've done everything for you. We let you live here. We include you in our lives. You made me serve food at your party. You offered to help because you made it clear I wasn't welcome as a guest. Amanda appeared at the top of the stairs. What's all the yelling? She was in a silk robe, her hair perfectly done even at 8 a.m. Your husband's having a breakdown, Jason said. Apparently we're terrible people for letting him live here. I'm not having a breakdown, I said quietly. I'm setting a boundary. A boundary? Jason repeated, incredulous. What boundary? I'm moving out. Silence. Jason and Amanda stared at me. You're what? Amanda said. I'm moving out. I've applied for an apartment in Seattle. I should hear back this week. Dad, come on. Jason's voice changed, got softer. Don't be rash. We can talk about this. We are talking about it. You don't have to move out. We can set up some ground rules, make things more comfortable for you. I'm already comfortable with my decision. Amanda descended the stairs. Richard, let's be reasonable here. You sold your condo. You don't have anywhere to go. I'll figure it out. With what money? She crossed her arms. You just said we used your accounts. How are you going to afford an apartment? I'll manage. You can't just leave, Jason said. The mortgage is in my name. Yes. You can't stop paying it. That'll ruin your credit. My credit is already ruined. Thanks to you. Dad, please. Jason sat down on the stairs, put his head in his hands. I know we messed up. I know we should have been better about the payments. But you can't just abandon us. We'll lose the house. Yes, I said. You will. He looked up at me. You'd really do that? You'd let us lose our home? My home, I said. The home I paid for. The home you've been defaulting on. The home where you humiliated me last night in front of 40 people. I apologized for that. No, you didn't. You said I was being dramatic. Amanda's face had gone hard. You selfish bastard. After everything we've done for you, what exactly have you done for me? Amanda. We gave you a place to live when you had nothing. I gave you a house when you had nothing. That's different. You're old. You needed family to take care of you. I'm 65, not 90. And I don't need anyone to take care of me. I need people to stop stealing from me. Stealing? Oh my God, you're insane. She looked at Jason. Your father's insane. I'm actually seeing clearly for the first time in 6 months, I said. I stood up, closed my laptop. I'm moving out by the end of the month. I suggest you figure out how to make the mortgage payments or start looking for a new place to live. You can't do this, Jason said. Watch me. I walked past them, up the stairs, toward the front door. Jason followed me. Dad, wait. Let's talk about this like adults. I stopped, turned around. You want to talk like adults? Okay. You owe me $50,000. The down payment I gave you was supposed to be a loan. You promised to pay me back within 5 years. That was the agreement. We don't have $50,000. Then sell the house. Dad, or I can force the sale through foreclosure. Your choice. His jaw dropped. You're bluffing. I pulled out my phone, showed him the emails from the real estate attorneys. I have consultations scheduled for Monday. All 5 of them specialize in elder financial abuse cases. Financial abuse? Jesus Christ, we're your family. Yes, you are. Which makes it worse. I put my phone away. I'm going for a walk. When I come back, I'd appreciate it if we could coexist peacefully for the next few weeks until I move out. Where are you going to go? Amanda called after me. You're broke. We used all your money. I stopped at the door. Actually, Amanda, you used all the money in my checking account. My pension account is separate. Always has been. I've got plenty to live on. I wasn't sure that was entirely true, but I knew I had enough to survive. And that was more than I'd had living under their roof. I walked out into the morning air. It was crisp, cold, the way Seattle mornings are in October. I walked for 3 hours, through the neighborhood, past other expensive houses, full of people who probably had their own family dramas. I wondered how many other basements held parents who'd given too much. When I returned, Jason was waiting in the living room. Amanda was nowhere to be seen. Dad, sit down, please. I remained standing. I talked to Amanda. We talked about everything. You're right. We've been taking advantage. We got carried away with the spending, and we weren't thinking about how it affected you. Okay, and we want to make it right. We're going to pay back the mortgage payments, all of them, and we'll set up a payment plan for the other money. How? You told me business was slow. I'll figure it out. I'll get a second job if I have to, but we'll pay you back. Jason, and you don't have to move out. We'll clear out the guest room. You can have a real bedroom, upstairs, with windows. Jason, and Amanda apologizes. She feels terrible about the freeloader comment. We both do. Last night was wrong. We were showing off for people who don't even matter. Jason, stop. He stopped, looked at me with desperate eyes. I've made my decision, I said. I'm moving out. Even if we pay you back? Even then. Why? If we fix everything, why can't we go back to normal? Because this is normal, I said. This is who we are now. You're a man who humiliates his father to impress clients. I'm a man who lets himself be humiliated because he's afraid of being alone. You're not alone. You have us. No, Jason. I don't think I do. He stood up, his voice breaking. You're really going to leave? Just like that? After everything? After everything. I agreed. Fine. His voice went cold. Fine. Leave. But you're not taking this house from us. I'll fight you. I'll hire a lawyer. I'll drag this out for years. That's your choice. You'll lose. You'll end up with nothing. I already have nothing, I said. At least now, I'll have my dignity. I went back to the basement. I didn't come up again that day. The next morning, I had my first attorney consultation. Margaret Chen, a sharp woman in her 50s who specialized in elder law. She reviewed my documents while I sat in her downtown office, drinking bad coffee. This is pretty clear-cut, she said after 20 minutes. You have grounds for financial abuse claims. The credit card fraud alone is prosecutable. I don't want to prosecute, I said. I just want to get out. Getting out is complicated when you're the primary borrower on a mortgage. Can I force them to refinance? Take me off the loan? With their credit and their current financial situation? Unlikely. No bank will approve them. So what are my options? She leaned back in her chair. Honestly, your best option is to force a sale of the property. You're the sole owner in the eyes of the bank. You can initiate the sale, pay off the mortgage, and split any remaining equity. They'll fight me. They can try, But legally, they don't have a leg to stand on. You own the house. They're essentially tenants who've been granted temporary residence. What about the money they took? That's trickier. You gave them account access. Unless you can prove coercion or fraud, which is difficult with family members, it becomes a civil matter. You'd have to sue for repayment. How long would that take? Years. And it would cost you more in legal fees than you'd recover. I stared out her office window at the Seattle skyline. So I just eat the loss? I'm sorry, Mr. Patterson. I know that's not what you want to hear, but family law is messy, especially when it involves informal agreements and shared finances. What if I threaten criminal charges? For the credit card fraud? You could. It might motivate them to negotiate, but understand that pressing charges against your son will likely end your relationship permanently. I think that ship has sailed, I said. She gave me a sad smile. Family cases are always the hardest. We want to believe blood means something, but sometimes the people who should protect us are the ones who hurt us most. I left her office with a plan. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. That night, I sat down with Jason and Amanda at their kitchen table. My kitchen table, technically, I'd helped Jason assemble it. I met with an attorney today, I said. Amanda rolled her eyes. Of course you did. She gave me several options. I want to present them to you. This should be good, Jason muttered. Option 1. You refinance the mortgage in your own names within 60 days. I'm released from the loan. You pay me back the down payment in installments over 5 years. We can't refinance, Jason said. You know that. Our credit is shot. Option 2. We sell the house. I pay off the mortgage. We split any remaining equity. You find a new place to live. This is our home, Amanda's voice rose. You can't just kick us out. Option 3. I stop making mortgage payments immediately and let the bank foreclose. You lose the house, I lose my credit rating, and we all walk away with nothing. You wouldn't, Jason said. I'm 65 years old. I don't need good credit anymore. I'm never buying another house. My pension and Social Security will support me just fine. Can you say the same? Silence. Option 4, I continued. And this is my preference. I move out at the end of the month as planned. You take over all mortgage payments, starting immediately. You make payments directly to me for the money you took from my accounts. I'll accept $20,000 to settle the debt. $500 a month for 40 months. If you miss a single payment, I initiate foreclosure immediately. $20,000? Amanda laughed. We don't have $20,000. Then you better figure out how to get it. This is blackmail, Jason said. No, this is negotiation. Blackmail would be if I threatened to press criminal charges for the credit card fraud unless you paid me. His face went pale. You said you wouldn't prosecute. I said I didn't want to. There's a difference. I stood up. You have until Sunday to decide. After that, I'm choosing option 3 and letting the bank handle it. I walked back down to the basement, my heart pounding. I'd never been good at confrontation. My whole life, I'd been the peacemaker, the one who smoothed things over. But something about Margaret Chen's words had stuck with me. Sometimes, the people who should protect us are the ones who hurt us most. Saturday morning, I got the call I'd been waiting for. The apartment in Seattle. My application was approved. I could move in immediately. I packed my things. I didn't have much. Most of my belongings had been in the condo I'd sold. Jason and Amanda had told me I didn't need to bring furniture to their place. They had plenty. So I'd sold or donated almost everything. Now I had 3 suitcases of clothes, a box of books, my laptop, and some photographs. 40 years of life condensed into items that fit in my Honda Accord. Sunday afternoon, Jason came downstairs. I was loading the last box into my car. Dad, wait. I closed the trunk. Did you make a decision? We'll take option 4. We'll make the payments. All of them? The mortgage and the repayment? Yes. He looked defeated. We'll figure it out. I'll need that in writing. Jesus, you really don't trust us anymore, do you? Would you? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, probably not. I handed him a printed contract I'd had Margaret review. Sign this, both of you. He took it, read through it. You're really doing this. You're really leaving? Yes. Because of one party. One bad night. Jason, it wasn't one night. It was 6 months of being invisible, of being used, of being made to feel like a burden instead of a father. I never meant, his voice cracked. I never meant to make you feel that way. But you did. You and Amanda both did, every day. I'm sorry. He looked at me, and for a moment, I saw the 12-year-old boy again, the one who'd cried at his mother's funeral. I'm really sorry, Dad. I know you are. Can't we fix this? Can't we go back? There's no going back. Only forward. He signed the contract with shaking hands, went inside to get Amanda's signature, came back and handed it to me. Where are you going to go? He asked. I've got an apartment in Seattle, near Pike Place Market. It's small, but it's mine. You'll be alone. I've been alone for 6 months. At least now I'll have a bedroom with windows. He flinched. Dad, I need to go. Traffic will be bad. Will you call? Once you're settled? Maybe. Eventually. Promise me you'll think about it. About coming back. About giving us another chance. I looked at my son, at the house behind him, at the life I'd built for him, and the way he'd torn it down. I'll think about it, I lied. I got in my car and drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw Jason standing in the driveway, watching me go. He got smaller and smaller until I turned the corner, and he disappeared completely. The apartment was everything the photos had promised. Small but clean. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, a kitchenette, and a living room with a view of the water. The building was for seniors, with a community room and activities I'd probably never attend. But it had windows, real windows with sunlight, and it was mine. That first night, I made myself dinner. Just pasta and jarred sauce, nothing fancy. But I ate it at my own table, in my own space, without wondering if I was imposing, without wondering if someone was going to ask me to do them a favor or run an errand or be anything other than myself. I slept in a real bed that night, not a cot. A real bed with a real mattress in a room that wasn't a basement. I woke up to sunlight streaming through my window. I was 65 years old. I'd lost my retirement savings. My credit was damaged. My relationship with my only child was probably destroyed. By any objective measure, I'd failed. But as I made my coffee that morning, standing in my small kitchen, watching the ferries cross Elliott Bay, I felt something I hadn't felt in 6 months. I felt free. The mortgage payments started coming in, $500 a month, like clockwork. Jason was true to his word about that, at least. I put it all into a savings account, figured I'd earned it. I got a part-time job at a bookstore near my apartment, 20 hours a week, minimum wage. I didn't need the money, my pension covered my rent, but I needed something to do. Something that was mine. I met people, other retirees, people who'd lived full lives and had stories to tell. People who didn't need anything from me except maybe a conversation over coffee or a game of chess in the community room. I learned what it felt like to be wanted for myself, not for what I could provide. 3 months after I moved out, Jason called. I almost didn't answer. Dad, I need to talk to you. Okay. Amanda left me. I wasn't surprised. I'm sorry to hear that. She said I was weak, that I let you manipulate me, that real men don't let their fathers push them around. He laughed bitterly. Funny, right? She spent 6 months bleeding us dry, and I'm the weak one for trying to make it right with you. Jason, I'm losing the house. I can't make the payments without her income. And she took half of everything when she left. I'm sorry. Are you? Really? The question hung there between us. Was I sorry? Part of me was. The father part that still remembered the little boy. But another part of me, the part that had spent 6 months in a basement, wasn't sorry at all. I'm sorry you're hurting, I said finally. But I'm not sorry for leaving. Yeah, he said quietly. I figured, what are you going to do? Sell the house, I guess. Like you said, start over. That's probably for the best. Dad, he paused. I know I don't deserve to ask this, but can we have dinner sometime? Just you and me? I looked out my window at the ferry crossing the bay, at the life I'd built in these past 3 months, a life that didn't include drama or manipulation or feeling less than. I don't think so, Jason. Not yet. When? I don't know. Maybe never. That's it? You're just done with me? You were done with me the moment you called me a freeloader in front of 40 strangers. I'm just making it official. I apologized for that. An apology doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't give me back those 6 months. It doesn't return the money you stole, or fix my credit, or heal the humiliation. So what am I supposed to do? Just accept that I'll never see my father again? You're supposed to figure out how to be a better person. And if you do, maybe someday we can try again. But not today. I hung up before he could respond. That night, I had dinner with my neighbor, Frank, a retired teacher who made terrible jokes and excellent lasagna. We talked about baseball and politics, and nothing important at all. I went to bed feeling lighter than I had in years. I saw Jason one more time, at the house sale. He looked thin, tired. The confidence he'd had at the housewarming party was gone. We signed the papers without speaking. After the mortgage and the fees, there was $47,000 left over. We split it down the middle. He tried to talk to me in the parking lot. Dad, I'm moving to Portland. Starting over. I wanted you to know. That's good, Jason. I hope it works out. Do you really hope it works out? I looked at him. Really looked. And I realized something. I did hope it worked out. Not for my sake, not even for his sake, but because he was still my son, and somewhere deep down, under all the hurt and anger, I still loved him. But love doesn't mean letting someone destroy you. Yes, I said. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. Will you visit? If I get settled? Maybe. Someday. He nodded. Understood, I think, that maybe meant no. I'm sorry, Dad, for all of it. I wish I could go back and do things differently. Me too. But you wouldn't, would you? You'd still leave. Yes, I said. I would. He got in his car and drove away. I watched him go, and I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just relief. I drove back to my apartment. Frank had invited me to watch the game. Some of the other neighbors were coming. We were ordering pizza. I was 65 years old. I had a small apartment, a part-time job, and less money than I'd planned to retire with. But I had my dignity. I had my peace. And I had learned something important. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes, respect isn't given. It's demanded. And sometimes, finding your worth means losing everything else. But at least when you look in the mirror, you recognize the person looking back. At least when you lay your head down at night, you sleep in a bed you've earned. At least when someone asks you who you are, you can answer truthfully. I'm a man who knows his value. And I don't negotiate on that anymore. That's enough. That has to be enough. And somehow, in my small apartment, with my small life, it is.